Okay, we're back. And today we're going to do some big updates on the Jeep. I did try a couple things that I didn't put on camera. I stuck these 120 millimeter shocks on there and they just don't work. The angle of the drive shaft is too steep and it makes it want to chatter. And as you can tell, it just sits way too high, and I'm sure it's going to want to tip over all the time. But we do have some big changes. We're going to put our regular shocks back on, of course, for first. These are 90 millimeter. Maybe later on I can find some that are 95 or 100 just to give it a little bit. But what else I got is I got a brand new set of bearings. And these are some good bearings. These are the ones that got the little blue coating on there that seals them up. I got new steel drive shafts from Integy, the SCX10 ones. I got an aluminum transmission housing to go with the all steel gears I've got. I've got another pinion that matches the one that's in there. And the reason that is because I've got a dual mount for two motors to go on this thing. And the motors, I got two RC four-wheel drive 35 turn motors. And I also picked up a Castle BEC so I can get the full power out of the steering servo. So we're going to get started with all that. Just kind of get some of this out of the way here. I think I'm also going to take off this tow hitch because that's just crazy anymore, and we'll probably add on some tow hooks on there so it'll work better with the winch. Let's get this off. And as you can tell, I got the magnetic mounts on here now for the back, so I no longer have to fight them clips on the very back. Excuse me. So we're actually going to have to change a whole lot of stuff here. I got my ESC and everything on this side, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to move it, that mounting plate I made, because with the dual motors, one of the motors is going to be up here, and I'm sure this will probably be all in the way. So this is going to kind of be a learning experience as we go, and I'm going to have to almost disassemble this truck all the way. There's so much going on. And the 35 turn motor I got in here, I'm going to go ahead and take it out. Ouch. And pretty much move everything around. This is the controller for the winch. Go ahead and take that off. So we're almost going to be disassembling this thing all the way. My homemade Y for the ESC and my sound kit. Alright. Okay. I guess the first thing I can do is I can just remove this transmission altogether, since we're not going to be using it anymore. Another thing, since I've already replaced the gears in here before, I actually have a whole nother set of gears, which will in turn I'll put back in this plastic housing, and it'll give me a complete spare transmission, or for maybe some other kit that I get a hold of eventually. Go ahead and take off this drive shaft. Since I'll be replacing them too. Excuse me. Alright. Now we got the transmission off. And surprisingly, these plastic drive shafts have held up pretty well. The real surprising part is they didn't fall off. That screw was rather loose. Ooh, so was that. You should use Loctite in those, but I don't really care to because I'm always getting in and out of them. I hope this don't make too much noise. It's hot in my man cave here. I gotta turn the fan on. Alright, we got the transmission out, the drive shafts out. We'll go ahead and disconnect this ESC. I might as well take these off. The ESC plate. Go ahead and put these screws back in. These hold on the skid plate. Okay, as you can see, all we've done was remove my ESC bracket I made. I'm pretty sure it's going to be in the way of the dual motor. We'll put all that back together once we get the new transmission put together. I'm going to go ahead and take these shocks off and replace them back with the originals, and then when I get back we'll start messing around with the transmission. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, we got our back shocks changed up. Seems like I might need to put some oil in them things, but as you can tell, you can see how high up the front is, and every time I took off it just wanted to go like that with a torque twist, so it wasn't worth the height. Now I'm back to the standard shocks. Springs seem pretty good. It's got good balance. I've been driving with them, so it should be alright. Well, I'm going to go ahead and switch out the fronts now, put them back to normal. And while I had everything off, I was checking how it spun. Everything spins good. I don't hear any grinding or anything like that. Of course, these front got weights on them, so you got to kind of keep in mind with that. You can tell by if we bring it all the way up, the weight of it wants to bring them back down. But let me go ahead and switch out the front tires real quick. My little hubcaps there are tight. And as soon as I get that done, put that back one back on. I'll be right back and we'll start on the project I came out here to do. Alright, I'll be back in just a second. Okay. Well, we got our original shocks back on, and we got our height where it's supposed to be at, and everything seems to work fine. Might where I had to trim that servo out. I might have to trim that just a little bit more. It's just barely catching. I don't believe it'll hurt if I trim it just a little more, and the back's doing well. Alright, now we're going to get to what we came here for. Let's get these back on. And eventually I do have some aluminum steering knuckles to go on this. We'll change them out when they show up. But for right now, we'll stick this over here to the side and start taking our transmission apart. Let's see. I believe I can take all these screws out. I don't think I'm going to need any of them except for the ones for the skid plates or the rock slides there. I'll put this over here, start taking this apart. I don't believe we'll be able to use this cover. I might be able to, but I don't think we'll be able to use this cover. I believe with the dual motor plate on there, it'll be impossible to put this cover back on. But it might. I might be able to modify it a little bit to cover up the big gear. But we'll see as we take it apart. I think I can leave all that together. We'll see as we start taking it apart. I can't quite remember. Get this motor off. Might have to trade a pinion with something else. I thought I had the original 20 tooth on there, but it might be the same. We'll see. There's our old motor, and it was a 35 turn, and this is all still good. We'll save this for another project, I'm sure. Gosh. I'm going to open up this other pinion and see if it's the same tooth. I do not remember what the tooth was on that other one. And one thing that's a little upsetting is there's no grub screw in here. Well, the teeth seem to be the same as far as this must be a 20 tooth also. Well, that's good. We'll just use these two. I'm gonna have to get another grub screw. You think you'd buy a new pinion and it would have came with the grub screw for it too, but guess not. Alright, well, let's get this apart. I'm pretty sure I'm going to take this clutch apart. Do this while it's big, I can still get a hold of it. to remember how this goes together. I'm putting it on my tray as it came apart. I'm sure I'll remember, but you know how it goes sometimes. You gotta remember not to forget this little pin in here. And the good news is, if we forget something or get stuck, we can always go back to our book, and shy of the double motor mount, it should still all be the same. I do believe if I'm not going to use this cover, I got to use some kind of spacers on these things. Instead of pulling it apart. I think what I'm going to do, I'm pulling this other one apart. I'm just going to rebuild this transmission here back with the plastic gears. And there's my other pinion that should match. Yeah, I'm going to use these two identical pinions. I'll save this one for the other. Alright, so I can leave the ball bearings in there. Alright, I gotta get a little burr off here. I'll be right back. Okay, I got a little carried away. Had a bearing stuck and I got working on that. Kind of forgot I was recording. So what I've done is I've built the transmission in here. I've got some speed grease from Grim Racer put in there. And that's kind of a waterproof grease. It's made for the boats. I'll get this put together, wiped off real good. And we got a good turning transmission now. Now I just gotta put everything back together. Okay. this one gets the nut, and this will hold it together. One up there and kind of tighten everything up. I'm not sure if I can use that or not. So we're kind of playing trial and error. We still got to take that clutch off. I just did that, put that back on there to hold it together while I put them gears in so it stopped falling apart on me. Alright. I think I'm going to need to put another spacer in there since I'm not going to be using this. Let's get all the grease off and we'll see. Yeah, that's rolling good. Alright, let's get this off. See how this goes on. Of course, nothing seems to have any instructions anymore. Everything's kind of trial and error. Alright, well, give me a minute to figure this out, and I'll let you know what's going on. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. I had to go off camera for a little bit and try and figure this thing out. I got kind of messed up. What was happening to me was this was real loose and I couldn't figure out why, and what it ended up being is, like an idiot, I forgot to put a bearing back in the back half of this. So once I got that all on, everything worked out good and everything's turning well. Got some good grease in there. Got the dual plate on for the two motors. Came out real nice. The only thing I think I'm going to do is I'm going to find me a stainless steel screw to go with this so I can get rid of that one black screw in there. So give me just a minute to change that, and then we'll get back to putting the motors on. Alright, I'll be right back. Okay, now we got our transmission all together. Came out pretty nice. Everything's nice and tight, no sloppy. All spins real well. I reckon the next thing we'll have to do is put our motors on. think I'll put this older version. You can always tell them newer from the older. They changed their label. I'll put this one back in here so I can hang it up real easy. And we got an extra 35 turn motor. Nothing in there I need to know about. These motors don't come with the hardware you need to install it. $8 millimeter. Get me 2 of these. These big stainless steel screw kits you can buy really come in handy. You don't ever seem to get enough screws anymore to do what you want to do. These holders from Cow RC really come in handy to keep everything separated and out of the way. Alright, so we'll get a screw and a washer. Get these motors started. Just slide them up and down. And go ahead and kind of just snug it up on the top so it's not flopping around while I'm trying to get this other one on. If possible, I always like to try and get the turn and everything that shows up top. So when your motor's mounted, you can see that it's the right one. Not too worried about the bottom one. Another little screw kit I do believe I got. Yep, I got some drub screws in here. Not the easiest thing to get out of there, but trying to get the flat spot on top so I ain't gotta fight with it. and I'm aiming for the middle. Just snugged up a little bit more. I'm aiming for where it'll be the middle of the gear. Myself, unlike some people, I don't like to Loctite these because I change pinions a lot, and that Loctite pretty much likes to keep it on there forever. Again, I'm aiming for the middle of the gear. Okay. I'm going to strip my tool there. Stripped out my little 1.5. I eat them things up as it is anyway. Got goodness. Well, that was a mess. I wonder how long that's been recording that way. Alright, let me take a break here and I'm going to make sure I didn't mess something up. Okay. We got both motors on and transmission. Now what I got to do is I got to wire these to where they're together to work off the one ESC. And what I'll probably do is solder on some of them bullet battery connectors. They're just better. And we'll get these two together, or I might even solder these on each motor by itself on a Dean's connector to where I can unplug each one. I saw on the internet where old DJ Medic did that and it worked out pretty nice, so I might do that myself. Alright, well this video is getting kind of long, so I'm going to take a break and stop this right here, and when we pick back up we'll put this transmission back in, hopefully all wired up, and start putting the other parts back on and find out where we'll put the new ESC. As you can tell now, this is going to eat up a lot of room on the inside there. And where that ESC used to be, actually it'll still fit. I'll probably just put it right back where it was, since it was so conveniently out of the way. Alright, until next time, thanks for watching. So please like, please share, and please comment. Alright, bye.